Hey, how's it going, friends? Thank you for tuning in to VR Revelations. Welcome. Please make sure you give this video a like and make sure you subscribe for future coverage. So, it is officially May 9th, the year of our Lord, 2023. Now, today is a big day for Russia. They have their Victory Day parade celebrating their victory over Nazi Germany. But I'll make a video shortly on that. As of right now, I'm bringing you an update on the situation in Bakhmut. As you can see here, Reuters is claiming that Russia is looking to capture Bakhmut essentially by today. As you can see on the bottom right corner, in my time zone, it is 12:35 a.m. So we'll see how the situation develops in the next couple of hours in Bakhmut. We'll see if Russia actually tries to capture the city and expel all the Ukrainian forces out of the remaining area which they hold, which according to reports, it's about 2.5 square kilometers. So it's just a small part of the city. So possibly Russia is looking to, capture the entirety there of that remaining area in order to coincide with, their parade and to sort of tout that and rally the people as they celebrate their victory over Nazi Germany. But will it happen? It'll be difficult. I'm sure the Ukrainians are going to step up their efforts there to try and prevent the Russians from capturing Bakhmut today. So it's unlikely that Russia will be able to capture it, that small remaining area within the next couple of hours, unless they just go all out and launch, massive strikes in that area. Now, it seems that even though the Ukrainians hold just a small percentage there of the city, this is an area with a lot of, fortified buildings. So unless the Russians completely, demolish those buildings via missile strikes, I find it very unlikely that they will be able to expel all the Ukrainian forces by today. But essentially, they pretty much have control of the entire city. Now, before we jump into this article, let's just take a quick look at the map. So, again, this is a pro-Ukrainian map. They are being a little bit generous here. Really, you can see that this is just a small part of the city now where we find the Ukrainian forces. It's really just this area right here. And again, there are a lot of fortified buildings here. As you can see, these are all buildings, with a lot of steel and concrete. So unless the Russians, destroy them via missiles, it's going to be hard for the Wagner group to go in there and clear it out in the next couple of hours. Now, concerning the Wagner group, we saw Prigozhin making threats that he was going to pull out of Bakhmut. It looks like, he came to some sort of agreement there with the normal Russian army, and they said they would provide the Wagner group with as many ammunitions as they needed and weapons. And so it looks like the Wagner group will continue the offensive and finish the battle here in Bakhmut. But again, if it's just them, if it's just the ground soldiers here, I find it very unlikely that they'll be able to expel the Ukrainians within the next couple of hours. But we never know. They could launch massive missile strikes to, have it coincide. To take complete control of Bakhmut and have it coincide with the victory parade that is going to be taking place in the early mornings there in Russia. I think at 9 in the morning. So you can Google, what time that translates to your area. But it's going to be in the morning, and, so they only have a couple of hours here if they do want to take control of the city before the parade. But again, it's not the government that's actually saying this. These are just other sources, right? It's much like, people saying, "Oh, what happened to Russia taking over Kyiv in 3 days, right? Or overcoming the Ukrainian army in 3 days?" Well, the government never actually said that was their time frame, 3 days. That was just outside sources, and then people ran with it, and Russian critics like to use that and tout that. But, Vladimir Putin, his administration, they never said that this special military operation was going to take 3 days. Again, they're fighting one of the most formidable armies, or what was one of the most formidable armies in Europe, who's backed by NATO, the US, and these other countries. But yeah, we can clearly see that, the complete takeover here is imminent. We've seen a ramp up of attacks all over Ukraine in the last couple of days. And also there in Bakhmut, just a couple of days ago, this whole area was on fire. It looks like Russia used, a type of phosphorus weapons, and so it literally looked like a video game. I mean, the whole city was lit up and it was burning. So let's just quickly take a look at that here on this YouTube report on that by CBS Evening News. So let's go ahead and watch that before we move on to the article.
Kyiv is accusing Russia of firebombing the besieged city of Bakhmut using phosphorus munitions. In drone video released by Ukraine, Bakhmut can be seen ablaze as what appears to be phosphorus rains down. And according to a Human Rights Watch report, phosphorus can burn through metal. Its use is considered a war crime when deployed against civilians.
So, very terrible stuff there. As you heard the lady there, Ukraine is accusing Russia of war crimes for using, that phosphorus. But as you heard her, she clearly said that it's considered a war crime when used against civilians. Now, the only people in Bakhmut are the Ukrainian soldiers and the Russian soldiers, but there's still, I believe, a small handful of people that are actually hiding in basements. I think a couple of days ago I saw a report that Ukrainians were trying to get those people out of there. It was around 70 people that are found in basements. Now, the question is, why are they still there, right? They've had plenty of time. The battle has been raging ferociously in Bakhmut, so why have they dug themselves in? Well, because these people are those type of people that are actually waiting for the Russian forces to take control so that they can be liberated. That's actually one fact that they don't cover because, again, it doesn't, it's not convenient for them. But yeah, anyways, as you heard her, that phosphorus burns through steel, and it's very, very hot. So you can just imagine what a nightmare that must be for those remaining Ukrainian soldiers in Bakhmut. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a read at this article here by Reuters. So it says, Russia has intensified shelling of Bakhmut, hoping to take it by Tuesday, which is officially today. Ukraine's top general in charge of the defense of the besieged city said late on Sunday. Now, again, who's setting this timeline of Russia trying to take the city by today? Ukraine, right? Who said that Russia was supposed to overcome Ukraine in 3 days? The West. These outside sources. Russia has never set any timelines for any of these things, which they're claiming. Vowing to do everything to prevent it. Victory Day in Russia is May 9th, one of the country's most commemorated public holidays, marking the anniversary of victory over Nazi Germany. This was literally the biggest and greatest battle in history, guys. Whether you like Russia or not, there is no battle in history as big and as ferocious as this one. Okay? There's never been an invasion like it. This is literally at the top of all battles in human history. And the Russians overcame the Nazis, of course. Colonel General Alexander Zursky, the Ukrainian commander of ground forces, said that Russian forces increased the intensity of shelling with heavy weapons of the city, began to use more advanced equipment, and are regrouping troops. Reuters could not independently verify the reports. Today, it is important to make decisions as quickly as possible and predict the actions of the enemy, Zersky said on his Telegram channel after what he said was a visit to the troops along the Bakhmut front line, which, again, that makes it sound like the front line is somewhere over here. The front line is right here, guys, literally on the last part of the city. So the Russians still hope to capture the city by May 9th. Our task is to prevent this. So it looks like Ukraine has now switched its goals to preventing the complete capture of Bakhmut to stopping the Russians from capturing Bakhmut in its entirety by May 9th. Remember, Ukraine touted Bakhmut as an impregnable fortress. The battle for the city, once home to 70,000 people, has symbolic importance for both sides, with Ukraine still holding on to some parts of after more than 10 months of fierce fighting against regular Russian troops and the Wagner mercenary force. Some parts, literally like 2% of the city as of right now. But anyways, there you have it, guys. From what this article is saying, Bakhmut might not fall today because the Ukrainians are going to try and literally throw soldiers at that little remaining part of the city to just stop Russia from capturing it on parade day, right, on victory day. So that's why I find it very unlikely, unless Russia really actually wants to capture the city by today within the next couple of hours and launches, incredible missile strikes to just annihilate the soldiers that are in those buildings. But who knows whether Russia is really dead set on actually capturing the city by today. I mean, they could capture it tomorrow or the day after, and it's still going to be huge. And Zelensky is the one that's made a big deal out of Bakhmut. So remember that. He said that if Bakhmut falls, it's going to open the way for Russia to advance to other cities. He's going to lose support from foreign nations that are supporting Ukraine. He expressed those worries, and he also said that his people would be discouraged and they would start pressuring him. So Zelensky is the one that made a huge deal about Bakhmut and decided to double and triple down on the city, even going against the U.S.'s advice to pull out months ago in order to save his forces for later battles. So yeah, there you have it, guys. Now, Bakhmut could fall within the next couple of hours. We could see reports of massive strikes or something like that. But if it doesn't, I'm predicting that it's going to fall within this week, especially after this this Victory Day parade, since the military is going to be inspired and very energetic after the parade and the speech that Vladimir Putin is going to give. But anyways, before we end the video here on this Bakhmut update, guys, I actually want to show you a small recap here from a Russian source on Telegram on the situation throughout Ukraine. So let's go ahead and take a quick listen at this video here.
Russian troops have once again delivered a massive strike to infrastructure facilities and weapons depots in Ukraine. In the south, cruise missiles hit enemy locations in Odessa and Bilhorod-Dnistrovsky districts. In Kiev, Russian UAVs Geran-2 raided the AFU military and infrastructure facilities. Targets in Sviatoshinsky and Solomyansky districts of the capital were struck by kamikaze drones. In Sumy region, Ukrainian air defense systems also proved helpless against Russian ordnance. An accurate strike hit the location of enemy units near Znobnovorodske. Once again, Ukrainian units shelled the border areas of Belgorod region. Residential buildings in Shebekino, Krasno, Spodaryoshino, and Leonovka were hit by the enemy. At least 5 people were wounded. AFU's assault groups have undertaken another attempt to attack Russian positions on the outskirts of Vilshana. Ukrainian units were dispersed by suppressive artillery fire. In the western districts of Bakhmut, Russian forces are engaged in severe battles for College of Olympic Reserve. Wagner PMC's assault groups are advancing along Tolbuhina and Levchenko streets, pushing the enemy out of the city. Ukrainian units continue to strike with NATO artillery at the civilian infrastructure of Donetsk. As a result of the shelling of Kievziki district, private houses, cars, and a gas pipeline were damaged. In Zaporizhia region, the enemy struck at civilian objects of Polohi. During the shelling, several houses were significantly damaged. One civilian was wounded. Ukrainian units are pulling together additional forces on the right bank of Dnipro, preparing for a possible river crossing. At the same time, there are chaotic shellings of residential buildings in settlements on the opposite shore.
So there you have it, guys. Notice that the West and Ukraine like to, make their voices heard whenever Russia strikes a residential building or a missile lands on one or something like that. But you never hear a peep out of them, right, concerning the strikes on the civilian infrastructure, these neighborhoods, these buildings, when it's Ukraine doing the attack, right? Now, I think some Ukrainian representative or politician or someone said that they're going to essentially hunt for Russians wherever they are around the world. And I think the U.S. government actually came out and said that they don't support any attacks on civilians, indiscriminate attacks on civilians, which is a bunch of hypocrisy. The U.S. has literally striked indiscriminately at civilians. They've killed civilians in Iraq and Afghanistan. So, again, this is all just war propaganda and hypocrisy. Yes, both sides do it. Russia isn't aiming directly at civilians to kill them indiscriminately. They're actually aiming at, places where the army is. Unfortunately, sometimes there are civilians there in that area. As we see in Bakhmut, there's still a handful of people that are actually waiting to be liberated by the Russian forces. And sometimes, missiles are taken down and they fall in residential areas. But we can clearly see Ukraine has been striking indiscriminately since they don't have that precision that Russia has. But you don't hear a peep out of the West about that, right? No condemnation for them. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. But yeah, there you have it, guys. It's going to be very interesting today to see how things ramp up in Bakhmut. I don't necessarily see Russia trying to take Bakhmut today necessarily to coincide with the victory parade. Again, it would be good for them for, a PR stunt, right, in order to sort of offer that to the people and to rally them up. But they haven't said they haven't set a date for today. This is Ukraine that's claiming that. But we can clearly see that Ukraine is holding about 2% of this impregnable fortress, so it's probably going to collapse here within this week. And things are going to get very interesting after that because, again, this is Zelensky's worst nightmare. We have rumors of this offensive. Prigozhin said that apparently it had already begun, but we really haven't heard anything about it. So, we'll see where that goes. I wonder what's going on over there behind the curtains in Ukraine. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. I might make a video shortly touching on Victory Day for Russia and its importance, but I'm not quite sure. Anyways, if you enjoy these reports, please give the video a like, and remember, the truth is stranger than fiction. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.